Hello, welcome back to Dudes in the Movies Talk Show. I'm your host, Gad Murphy. I'm joined by my co-host,
Mason Justic.
Yesterday night, we just saw Christopher Nolan's 2020 blockbuster film, Tenet. Today, we're going to review Tenet, and at the end of the video, we are going to rank all of Christopher Nolan's movies in one thing. So, Mason?
Tenet is about a secret agent who embarks on a dangerous, time-bending mission to prevent the start of World War III. It stars John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, Elizabeth Debicki, and Kenneth Branagh. It was written and directed by Christopher Nolan.
All right, so I have a decent amount to say about Tenet, and right off the bat, I can kind of tell that Tenet so far is really divisive.
Yeah, it's getting split down the middle.
It is, people love it, or people just say that it's not. It's probably, some are saying that it's one of Nolan's worst works.
Yeah, I'm not hearing really anything in the middle.
Yeah, I'm not hearing like, oh, it was a good film. I'm hearing masterpiece, or I'm hearing
right.
So, I just say let's get right into the goods, and I have a lot to say about the goods. But the first one I want to bring up is basically the story of this inversion. Oh, reminder, we're gonna keep it spoiler free. We won't spoil anything. We'll make sure.
Right.
But
we will talk about the inversion a little bit, though.
Yeah.
Not much though.
Not much to spoil. So, right now it's just a story of the inversion. It's definitely Nolan, classic Nolan, right?
Classic Nolan.
Of course. Messing with time and messing with everything, how like this world works, and the inversion of going backwards and people going forwards. So it's really well done. I think the story wise, how it moves to a different like plot point or to a different like area, and then kind of you get to that halfway point, and I just think it goes in go mode. And
right. And it starts to come together a bit more because you see like kind of flashes of the inversion and kind of learn about it.
Yeah.
And then it just, when everything comes together,
yeah,
that's where the movie starts to pick up.
And that's where it gets really good for me.
And unfortunately, that's a little late though.
Yeah. It doesn't. It's kind of waits until like an hour and 25, an hour 30.
Right.
When it
like halfway.
Yeah. Where it introduces you into something it makes the rest of the movie better. It makes it like a lot better, and like you're so much more interested. But we'll get later into that for the bads. But one thing that's huge about this movie is the action, and the action is probably the best part, maybe one of the top 3 best parts of the movie.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And everything's practical. There's no CGI, and the way that Nolan shot it, he had one take going forward and one take going backward.
Right, I don't think there's any like digital too, right?
Yeah, no, nothing at all. It's all
on camera.
Yeah, it's really insane. All the action scenes are really well done.
It's just classic Nolan.
Classic Nolan, of course. John David Washington, who plays the lead, he does really good as like for the action part of it. He learning all like the stunts and everything.
Oh yeah,
having the fight in reverse.
Yeah, the
behind the scenes showed
sequence,
for sure.
Yeah, he put in the work, so you gotta give that credit. Robert Pattinson too.
He was probably my highlight.
He was actually.
If
he was actually in a lot more than I thought he would.
Yeah,
I thought he was.
If you're not convinced for Robert Pattinson as Batman now, then I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but
right.
He does such a good job as like the supporting actor, and then we have Elizabeth Debicki, who is our female
lead.
Yeah,
right.
And she does a really good job. She has some probably more of the emotional or like.
Yeah, I guess she has most of the
like real-ish moments, or how do I say it? Like
I know what you mean, like
yeah. Without giving anything too away, but another thing I want to pick up on is that this is not music composed by Hans Zimmer. Instead, it's Ludwig Göransson.
I think he did a great job.
And I think he did amazing. This was really awesome. And
I love the score.
Yeah, it was the digital like way, or it's like it kind of like techno, I guess you could say, was really cool, and it made a lot of these scenes really, really good. The theater, you have to see it in theater.
You do.
You have to. Like, the theater I was in, or we were in, it's just, the bass and everything is just so loud, and it's, like, getting you so, like, energized into it, and it's really good. Göransson does a really, really powerful job with the score. Trying to think what else. Cinematography, I thought was really good for most part, especially once you get into the second and third act towards the end. There's some really, really cool shots, and the way that everything is filmed looks really clean.
Yeah, and this is the same director of photography who did Interstellar. Might be
Dunkirk.
Maybe Inception. I think it was Inception.
It was Inception.
Well.
That's what it was.
Put his name up.
Yeah,
because I don't know how to pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
But he does a great job with all of
kills
Nolan's
it.
movies. He knows how to carry out Nolan's vision well. So I think they're a great pair.
Yeah. One thing I really love about this movie too is like kind of the settings. Nolan jumps around a lot. He goes from like different locations every single time. He's going to like different beaches, or he found like open fields and train tracks into like these desert-ish like kind of areas, and it's all like really refreshing or kind of cool to see because it's just jumping around from place to place, and each place looks really good on.
Yeah, I love that. It's like kind of like Inception a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if the movie to compare this to with Nolan is Inception, definitely.
Yeah.
So, all this different settings in Inception.
Yeah.
I love when Nolan does that. I
Exactly.
like when movies do that.
And then another thing you have to give key to is Nolan just doing this is original. It's so like fresh,
Completely
to see.
original, and that's one of the best parts about this. Nolan is just his imagination. He just keeps pushing it, and it works. Like the whole time inversion in this movie works so perfect for me, and it's a really fun movie.
Yeah. One thing I want to bring up is that I'm seeing a lot of people say that this is Nolan's take on a James Bond movie, and I completely agree, and it's just really cool to see how it's done. You can see definitely with Inception and Tenet, the two movies I'm going to compare, is that Nolan uses a lot from the James Bond movies in those in them. Like he uses a lot of like subtle hints, and then this is basically a huge story. And like one thing you can see is that John David Washington's character is basically like the James Bond type because he's got like the little quippy jokes, and then the good at the action.
And he's in shape.
Mm-hmm.
The fight, like
he does everything good with the fight. It makes it seem like it's just a spy thriller with Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah,
and then we'll get more later, like more of the story a little bit. But one thing we have to talk about that everyone's talking about is the sound mixing in this movie, and most people are saying that like they can't hear
what
they're
on.
saying
over
because the music is playing over
sometimes they're saying that the music, or like there's at one point they're at like train tracks, and they say like the trains are too loud that you can't hear anything.
Yeah, and they've been saying like Nolan started doing this with The Dark Knight Rises because of like the Bane voice.
But I mean, I
know what they mean.
Yeah, I get what they mean. I can definitely see where they're coming from. There's a few parts for sure that I was like, you can't understand what they're saying, or you're kind of like questioning like, what did they say? I can't hear it over like the music and the sound that's going on. But I think for the first like act or so is when it's like all right, but other than the dialogue, I think the sound mixing is really good. Like everything with the gunshots and the explosions sounds super real and like super.
Yeah, like the sound mixing isn't terrible with that. Like the gunshots sound so clean.
Yeah,
and I just love that. It kind of reminds me of like John Wick a little bit.
Yeah.
And the explosions as well. But I can understand why it's annoying to people that they can't hear everything.
Yeah, that's definitely a negative for me. It's just sometimes the dialogue is unreadable, but
and that's fair. Everyone's saying that, but like if
you
can't hear it, it's annoying.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm trying to think of other goods. Do you have any other goods?
Well, I don't want to talk about it too much. Like I want to say it without spoiling, but the final the third act of the movie. That final,
it's insane.
It's just so awesome.
It's
so
it's like nonstop. You're in different subplots, but it's all like
you got
intense.
Like 2 plot, like
2 to 3,
and it picks up.
Yeah,
there's a lot of crazy stuff's going on, and in the theater, it's just so like immersive.
Yeah,
like, I loved it.
Yeah, it's insane because it's just always grand scale.
Yeah, and this is one of the biggest, like, oh my god, no, I don't want to spoil it, but like,
yeah, it's
hard.
It's
the
hard
scale
to say
at the end, like,
it's huge.
Just a lot of stuff's going on, and this is like the biggest Nolan has done.
Yeah,
with that.
For sure, I completely agree with that. It's really really cool to see, and then story wise too, like we said earlier, it's something so different and creative, and then once you get to that twist or you get to that midway point is when it really starts to pull you in.
Right.
So it's.
I think we covered that.
Yeah. So we're good on that. But other than that, I feel like we've said the goods, right? Do you have anything else to add?
No, not really.
All right, so let's get into the negatives. You can start with that.
Negatives?
Yeah.
Well, I've already started kind of with the audio of the people.
That's a huge thing. One thing for me is that it takes a long time to get like reeled into.
Right.
We sparked down a little bit, but in the movie theater I was sitting, and we're kind of 30 minutes in. I was like, all right, this is good, but when is it going to start being Nolan?
Yeah, right.
And I was waiting a little longer, and then it got to the hour point. I was like, all right, this is good, but I want it to get Nolan. And it's not like I'm trying to like look too much into it, but I was kind of like, where's going to be that point or that like area where we start to go into go mode?
I know what you mean. Like,
yeah.
It's not that I didn't enjoy like the first half,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, cause like the trailers.
Yeah.
And like the media, they were hyping it up to
Exactly.
be this, and then you get like that first half. I'm like, all right, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, it's not that I didn't enjoy it. I was just waiting for the bigger.
Yeah.
Like,
I was hoping for something else to happen, but yeah, that was just one thing for me.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying it's more confusing than exciting. I wanna say that is not true.
Yeah, there's no way. If you really pay attention, I don't understand like
all the fight sequences.
It makes
like those are so dope to watch.
Yeah, how are you gonna say that's not entertaining to watch? Like especially with the final scene, the final like acts or like the final half.
That was awesome.
It's everything is just you're so engaged in it. I don't see how people are like, oh, it's not exciting to watch. I'm like, it is. It's just people are getting. They were saying they were getting too confused, but it's just I picked up on it. You picked up on it. Once it started to go and it didn't get like it's still confusing. I'm still confused, right?
When like all of our friends were trying to like figure it out. Like,
yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that like trying to figure it out was fun.
Mm-hmm.
But it like to me the time version was not as confusing as like the main story.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I understood the time version.
It was just like...
But the main story was a little hard to follow. Exactly,
because they were jumping around a little too much for, like, what plot they wanted to go for. And I think towards the end was when, like, they had kind of, like, all the plots, like, coming together or, like, kind of going at the same time. And it was hard to follow sometimes. Mm-hmm. But it just... To me, it didn't seem... Everyone seems, like, way too confusing to just like or enjoy them. I just disagree.
Yeah, I think that's...
Yeah.
It's kind of like a bandwagon everyone's hopping on.
Exactly.
And most new movies like this get a lot of hate.
Because they're so hyped up.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
they do get a lot of hype, but, like...
I saw someone complain. They were saying that the trailer gave too much information that was eluded away, and I was just like... I mean, not really. No. I feel like you're fine if you watch the trailers and you go in there.
If you've seen the trailer,
you're fine because you get a basis of like what you're going to expect, and then once it starts to happen, and then there's more to it. Like there's never enough. There's never enough, especially with Nolan. Like you think you know, and then there's always something else to add into it, and it's just what I think makes him so good, makes the story so good. But it was just something that I disagreed on for what that person said. But
right and.
Did you have anything else?
Anything else bad?
For me, one thing that I thought was bad, or not like bad, but just a nag, is that they kind of introduced a lot of characters that were like never really used again.
Right.
It was you had your main three, but there was a lot of like people that jumped in for 5 minutes and they had like a big part, and then they're never seen again.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And then there's one character that. Her character comes like back every like basically for like 45 minutes, and you kind of forget like that this person's in the movie or like this is what they're actually going for that person.
Right.
And sometimes it kind of adds to like the confusing part of the story with so much that is getting thrown in. But overall, I mean, it comes out to me clean, I think, at the end.
Yeah. Definitely with the characters. You're not as attached to them as like other Nolan movies.
Exactly.
But, like I know, like we said, Dunkirk doesn't follow a main like character, but that movie is about the story.
Exactly.
Like this, like the like the setting.
Mhm.
It's more like that's a movie that's more like setting focused than
Yeah.
like character. But then you got like Inception and Interstellar where you care about the main characters.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to
And-
bring up. It's like you care about Dom Cobb in Inception, or you care
Right.
about Cooper in Interstellar. This time with John David Washington's character, you get what they're going after, but you don't really feel any like
Right. Like
connection to them.
like with Dom Cobb
Yeah,
in Inception, you're cheering for him.
yeah. You want to see him come out, but then in Tenet, you're kind of just like sitting like, oh well, I get like this is what we're doing, but why should I like be worried, or why should I?
Right.
No.
However, I really did like John David Washington.
Yeah, I thought he did really good.
Yeah,
especially,
I really enjoyed.
Yeah, he did
his
good.
character.
Everything was good. I thought the whole cast was
he's
good.
not as like
Yeah.
it's not as deep. They don't go as deep with him as but that's about it.
Mhm.
That's about it with my bads. I mean,
Yeah, I think
they don't even ruin the movie that much for me. So
Yeah,
I'm still rating this movie pretty high.
exactly. I still think it's really enjoyable. My final score, I'm gonna give it around a 9 or 9.1, which is on the amazing side of our scale. Mason.
Like somewhere in between 8.5 and 9, I'd say.
Yeah.
Maybe a little closer to 8.5.
Mm-hmm. But other than that, that wraps up our Tenet review.
All right, yeah, there it is.
Now,
Did it live up to the hype, did you think?
sh-
Was it worth the 2-month, 3-month delay?
it was definitely painful, the delay, but I think it was. I think it's definitely something that you could see why Christopher Nolan wanted it to be released in theaters, because it's something that has to be seen on the big screen.
Right.
And I think it was definitely worth the hype. It's by far, as right now, my favorite 2020 movie.
Me too.
Not that I've seen, so I've only seen like 6 or 7 maybe.
Right, because there's not a lot.
Yeah, but I still think it was pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say not his best, but very exciting.
Exactly.
Definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
I recommend this movie. I had a great time watching it.
Exactly.
And I love Nolan as the director, and he just killed it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's
All right,
about
so
it.
right now we are going to begin our Christopher Nolan movie ranking. At number 11, I'll start. We have.
Oh yeah. We don't know our rankings, so
It's kind of,
we're gonna surprise each other and talk about it a little bit.
My number 11 is his first film, Following.
All right. You're gonna talk about it, or
Well, I still think it's okay. So it's early Nolan, 1998, and it's only an hour long. And I don't think it's bad. I don't think any of his movies are bad. I just want to make that clear right now. It's just that,
Me too.
especially with only an hour long, it was kind of like you kind of wanted more, and there's not really much you can really nag on, but it's not really much I can praise. Like, I can't say that this is his best film because especially compared to others that he has later in his career, it's just not as like, it's more based basically, and just not as like more. But I see why. It's his first film and it was low budget, so it's fine. Really cool to see his beginnings.
Yeah. My number 11 is also Following, and it was fun watching. Like Christopher Nolan said, this is just like the best film he could produce with what he had. So he just used his friends and like locations where he lived. So that was cool.
Yeah.
But like you said, it does not like compete with the movies,
Yeah.
the blockbusters he's made today.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's only fair to put that at the end because all of other movies are, this doesn't give you enough time to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Then let's go to our number 10. What's your number 10?
number 10, like you said, Nolan has never made a bad movie, and he falls under that category of directors who never that rare category of directors that never made a bad movie, because he really writes most of his movies.
Yeah.
And he hasn't done like 30, like Tarantino has done like
8,
a few,
9.
Paul Thomas Anderson,
Mm-hmm.
like they all have like they're all like about their filmography. So I'd like to make that clear. But number 10 is Interstellar.
Really?
Yes. I don't know. I just didn't like it, man. I liked all these movies better than Interstellar.
All right.
And I gave my review on it, and I think it's a great movie. Well, not great, but it's a good movie.
Yeah.
And I think most people will enjoy it. And like most Nolan movies, it's fun to watch, but
It just lacks some for you.
yeah, like compared to the other movies, I don't think it stands next to them.
All right, I can see why you say that. For my number 10, I'm going to go with Insomnia.
Right.
To me, again, this is kind of another feels like based movie for Christopher Nolan, and it was still good. You had really good performances by Al Pacino and Robin Williams. And it was really an interesting story. It's just that there's parts where I kind of like fall out of it or kind of want more, and then the ending I'm iffy on. But that's really much to say about Insomnia. I still think it's a really good movie. I feel like a lot of people should check it out. And there's a lot I like about it, but it's not going to hold. I don't think it holds up against the others.
All right. I understand what you mean, but my number 9 is actually... Wait, we're at 9, right?
Yeah.
My fault. I kind of sped that up.
That's fine.
Okay, well, number 9 for me is Insomnia.
Okay.
I like this movie a little more than Interstellar because it's like Nolan's murder mystery.
Yeah.
And I'd say it's the closest you kind of get to like the horror category for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I always think it'd be interesting to see a horror movie from him. So I know it's not horror at all,
yeah.
but like, you know, it's kind of creepy and eerie, and I like that side of Nolan, and I think I hope before he's done directing he can kind of expand on that.
Yeah, that'd be super cool to see.
And I liked Insomnia. I think it was a great movie.
All right, for me, my number 9 goes to The Dark Knight Rises.
Really?
Yeah. For me, I love this movie a lot, but when I'm looking on the best scale, like which ones I'd rank like best, it definitely falls because I see the plot holes. I enjoy it so much, but I see where a lot of the negatives come in and where it kind of like makes it fall itself behind where it could have been. Definitely, I feel like this could have been a top 5 movie for sure by his. It's just that there's a few problems that if he just didn't do that, it would have put it up on that scale.
All right.
But that's where it falls for me. So.
All right, now to our number 8s.
You want me to go?
Yeah, the back to back.
Keeping it back to back with the same character, I'm gonna go with number 8 is Batman Begins.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Okay, so I think I still love this movie. Okay, don't give me. I give this a 9 out of 10. I think.
Okay.
But
let me hear.
I think it's a really good origin story for Batman. It creates a really good character and has really good themes of the fear. The only thing that I just don't like is kind of the end, like the Ra's al Ghul's like plan. I think that was my only thing was that I didn't like, and again, it falls behind some of the other like huge scale things that I love with a passion.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I get it. Like when a story doesn't. When you don't like the story, I guess. All right, I understand.
So you're number 8?
I'm gonna stick to the Batman. I'm gonna go with The Dark Knight Rises.
All right.
I think this is a fair placement of his movies because, like you've already said, I kind of agree with what you said. It's not perfect at all, story-wise.
Yeah.
But everything else, Nolan kind of pulls through with that. You know, the shots. Directing, the music, and I think it's also one of my favorites. You know, I love Bane, dude.
Yeah,
I love Bane, but yeah, not the best. Obviously, the worst in the trilogy, but I think it was a very fitting end.
Yeah,
that's why it's my number 8.
So we'll go
number 7.
Yeah.
All right, and this movie just came out. I gave it to Tenet.
All right.
It's kind of in between a little bit, but I think it's. What can I say? I think it's better.
Yeah.
Than the 4 I already gave, but not better than there's 6 left.
Yeah.
No, I actually really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
And I think after a few more watches, it might move up a little bit.
I think a rewatch is definitely a need.
Yeah, maybe I'll like it worse because that's kind of. It
happens a lot.
Another movie that kind of happened to me that's on this list. I'll get into that, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. Had a great time. Thing is, like, what if it's only enjoyable in a theater? You know?
Yeah.
That can happen with me.
Exactly. That's something that I'm also like. I need to know. I feel like later in the year, if this comes out on DVD, I feel like that's when I'll be able to solidify where I think that this movie lands. but as of now, you have it at your 7.
Right.
We'll transfer to my 7. You were talking about how there's some movies on this list that a rewatch kind of brings it down, and one movie that I have to go with at number 7 is The Prestige.
Okay.
I still really love this movie. There's so like the back and forth between the characters and the final reveal at the end is really, really cool. The only thing about it is that I've rewatched this about 4 times. The second time I thought it was better, but then the third time I didn't like it as much, and the fourth time I brought it down just a little bit more than how much I liked it before. But I still think it's really interesting. Not really too many problems in it. It's just, again, it doesn't compete with everything in front of it.
Number 6?
Number 6, I'm going to go with Memento.
Alright.
Really, this is his second movie, right?
Right.
And the concept is really cool. Everything moving, it's going from ending to beginning. It's really cool. The action, when there is action, is done well. And I really like the character. The character is just really... the character study is really good, just to see about how this man thinks and how he does his things, and it's a really good story to me. But it lands on number 6.
My number 6 will be The Prestige. Like you said, when I first watched this movie, it was top 3.
Yeah.
But then I watched it again. I don't know, for some reason I just didn't like it as much.
Yeah.
I guess because you kind of figured out everything. But I still, like, besides that, I still think it's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I still really enjoy it. You know,
Yeah.
I love the story Nolan told. And it's a period piece and everything. Like, all the detail in it, too.
Especially with David Bowie.
Especially with David Bowie. I was just about to bring that up. Probably, he knocked it out of the park.
A huge part
as
of
Tesla.
It. Yeah.
But, yeah, that's...
So now you got number
now
5.
we're in our top 5 now.
Yeah.
Number 5, I will start it off with Memento.
All right.
Memento, I love this movie.
Yeah.
I wish it ranked higher.
I know, that's what sucks, that, like, a lot of these movies are in, like, my top 50 of all time, and it just hurts to see that, like, The Dark Knight Rises at number 9, but I love it.
I know. I know. But, yeah, so Memento, like you said, the way Nolan told the story in reverse, and who's the guy?
Guy Pearce?
Guy Pearce.
Great job.
Great job.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I could watch it. Again. I've seen most of these movies like a few times.
Yeah.
But I'd love to watch it again, just to piece it apart better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love the movie, and number 5.
My number 5 is a movie that just came out.
Oh my god,
and
really?
It's Tenet.
Okay.
I'm still debatable on how high I placed it. Then again, I had to see it again just to confirm where I'm at. But I liked it a lot. Really interesting. Like we said, there is the problem of, like, my big thing was that it took a long time to get into. But ever since it got into that halfway point and the rest just happened is when I just started to love it. And I was right next to you in the theater. I was like, I was telling you every time, I was like, this is insane. Like, this is exactly what I was hoping for. And it's just a really good film to me, I think. It's up there for me for top 5.
All right.
So you had your number, my number 4.
Your number 4
is what you had very low. And it's Interstellar. I love this movie.
Whatever.
Okay, I love it. I don't know why I love it so much, even though I see its flaws. You brought it up in the one video, and it kind of made me think about it, but even still, I went back, and I love it a lot. The character, Cooper, to me, is so good, played by Matthew McConaughey, and it's an emotional movie about family. Sometimes the theme falls short for me. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. But other than that, it's just grand scale. It's got my favorite score by Hans Zimmer. It's got some amazing shots. It's got some amazing world building. And I think it's just incredible. One of, like, the top 3 space movies for me. I just really, really enjoy it. But what's your top or your number 4?
My number 4 is Batman Begins.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
I consider this Nolan's first blockbuster.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was before The Prestige.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, he's credited as the first person to really get Batman right on the screen. And, like I've said this, like, make you care for Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he nailed the origin story.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll ever really recreate that on, like, in a movie again. Because, that's, like, the trouble they have with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They did it, like, a few times. But I think he just nailed it so well they wouldn't touch it. And another thing, I think this is where Nolan kind of started to become Nolan.
Yeah.
After this movie, I feel like
say.
every movie kind of felt like the same, feels the same.
This was kind of like his big start off to like creating his own thing.
Right.
Scorsese has his own thing. Tarantino has his own thing. Batman Begins was Nolan's start for his own thing. I can definitely see where you're coming from with that. But yeah, I agree with what you said. So you're number 3. Top
number 3. I guess if I remember it right, our top 3 should have consist of the same 3 movies.
Yes.
Probably different order, but my number 3, Dunkirk. I think this is I think it's a perfect movie. I really do. I'm as in like I don't have anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it a lot, and I think like a Nolan war movie is just so dope, and it's as cool as it sounds, and the way he was able to tell it with 3 different timelines that all like intertwined eventually at the end.
Keep in mind too, this is also like Nolan's shortest or second shortest movie other than Following, and it's kind of crazy how much he packed into the hour 45 runtime, but it still feels like you're invested into all the 3 stories and just so much going on that it enjoys it.
Right, and Nolan he was able to kind of prove that he can make an original movie himself without like the Batman and the sci-fi.
Yeah.
He can make an original movie and still win big at the box office and make a good movie.
Yeah.
So I think this is one of his better like as a writer, like better movies as a writer, and the movie is just stunning.
And I'm gonna have to completely agree with you because at my number 3 is also Dunkirk. It's one of my favorite war movies of all time. Every time I think about it, I start to love it more. Like we said, the concepts of 3 different stories and how they all meet up in the end is something I love. I love seeing the action. I love seeing how like realistic the horrors of the war were, and I love seeing like the tragedies that make the story so like powerful and good. And just Nolan just doing his like best,
right?
Especially in a war movie where people could be doubtful. Like Nolan doing a war movie is questionable, but then he pulls it off and it surprises everybody. And
and I think this is like the best you could get.
Yeah. So now we go to our top 2.
How do you want to do this? Just I don't know. I mean, I have a feeling we're on the same page, but at the same time, I don't.
Well,
I guess we'll just give our number 2s, right?
At the same time? No, you go first, I go first.
All right, my number 2 is Inception. Inception is another. I think the top 3 are all like
masterpieces
in my eyes, and Inception is no different. As in like Dunkirk, I don't really have any problem with it, and I think it was revolutionary what Nolan did, like how he was able to like make the movie like that, with the like the dreams, and the way he was able to like, this is a complex movie, and the way he was able to like make it, you know what I'm saying? Like
to like centralize it. To
like this is like
it's understandable.
His most original movie.
Yeah,
and I think that was so cool. Like, Inception.
My number 2 goes to The Dark Knight. All right.
Okay.
Keep in mind, The Dark Knight's also in my top 5 favorite movies of all time and my top 5 best movies of all time.
Mm-hmm. Is Inception?
Yes.
All right.
The Dark Knight is, to me, again, a perfect movie. There's literally, I can never pick anything wrong about it.
You're throwing Nolan twice in your top 5? All right, never mind.
The Dark Knight, to me, is a perfect movie. The themes, the characters, Everything that goes on is just something that I absolutely love. You can't pick it apart. There's nothing bad about the movie. It's just insanely. It's so well made, and it's like breathtaking to like watch and see. Especially for the first time watching this as a kid. Like, I'm in love with the Batman character, and I come back when I'm a teenager and I rewatch it, and I think it's just as good. And it gets better every single time I watch it. It never fails to. I've seen this movie so many times. It's probably one of my most rewatchable movies, and it never fails to live up like to what it's always been. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a masterpiece.
Well, before we get into your number one, I know we're kind of bringing the order, but my number one's The Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with everything you said. I just think it's just better. I think it works more as a story because I like Inception is a lot of explaining, you know?
Yeah.
Where The Dark Knight, I think it just works better as a story. You know, like just the way it flows, it's like music. Okay.
Yeah.
I just love this movie. It's one of my favorite. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's probably in my top 3 of all time.
Yeah.
You know, I used to watch this with my older brother all the time when I was little. So I've seen this movie countless times, and I just love it more every time. And I think it has the best ending to every Nolan movie.
Really?
Like the best out of every Nolan movie. I meant like the best ending.
Yeah. I completely agree with everything that you said.
Yeah, and I like what he was going for, like
with all the different themes
with Batman being kind of because in the first one he's a hero.
Yeah.
This one he's
on the line of
right, and I love that idea, and I love that. It's not like it's not a superhero movie. I don't like when people say it that. Like,
yeah.
Because this is a crime movie.
Yeah, I agree with that too. A lot of people are like, oh, it's they see it as just like another superhero movie or comic book movie.
I think all the superhero movies kind of like
bunched up, and or there's like
just like the way people view everyone, like all the ones like that they keep making, and they're kind of the same.
It's the same.
I just think that kind of takes away to the respect that The Dark Knight deserves.
Yeah, especially when they say like one thing that just bugs me about when people like say something about The Dark Knight. It's just that it's just a superhero movie and it's just along with the others, but it's just not because it doesn't follow the same like scale that you see in the MCU. Don't get me wrong, I love most of the MCU movies, but they follow a formula.
Right.
And The Dark Knight it's completely on its own, and it just rearranges everything from what one would assume it would be. It just makes me love it. But for my number one is Inception. First time I watched it, I was so blown away that I rewatched it the next day. I've seen it so many times, and each time I just love it more. One of my favorite scores of all time, one of my favorite cinematographies of all time. The plot twists or the needle drop at the end or the ending.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Which is something so like chilling to me and so like just amazing to see how Nolan could pull off a grand scale movie like that, and how to make like the world of the dream, like you said, just come to life and become so insanely well done and action packed. It's like, again, there's hints of everything. There's hints of crime, spy, action, thriller, drama, and I just get invested into a lot of these characters too. Like Dom Cobb, I feel for him all the time, like when he's thinking about everything that he could do with his wife and with his family. And the characters are so well done. Christopher Nolan just does an absolutely amazing job with this. And just see how it took him 10 years to write it, and how it like what he wrote actually came to like life is just game changing.
Yeah, and it's reflected on how people view that movie, because everyone knows Inception.
Yeah,
you know, how
especially
complicated it is,
and it's still talked about 10 years later.
Right, and we saw like other people at the Inception 10-year anniversary.
Yeah,
you know, like people love this movie, and that's why they're so excited for Tenet, because they know why. They know Christopher Nolan, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's proved himself more times than ever, and I think top 3 of our top 3 are all arguable.
Yeah.
But I guess the whole list is, but you know what I mean. Like, I think top 3 could be like 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, interchangeable.
But Christopher Nolan is probably, in my opinion, one of the best directors of all time. One of the most influential directors of all time, for sure.
Especially about like our generation.
Yeah. He's done so much and like kind of impacted a lot of the movie world. You have other directors like Denis Villeneuve. He's made Blade Runner 2049 or Arrival, and he says that Christopher Nolan was someone that he watched his movies and was like, I want to get onto that grand scale of what he's at. And it's just something huge to see. Christopher Nolan's just amazing.
Yeah, he's definitely a master, and I think I agree. He's one of the best directors.
Yeah.
Lay out there.
Mm-hmm. But other than that,
that's been the road to Tenet. It's been a ride.
Yeah, it has.
This is wild.
We've
11 movies. Wow.
Mm-hmm. We've finished everything. Rewatch all of our other videos. We'll leave in the description. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Helps us out.
Yeah, and for the future, we'll just be doing movie reviews, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess you can comment movies you want to see us review.
And we'll do it.
And then we'll just do some that we want to.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think our next...
One thing I'd love to get into, because I recently watched everything, is the Mad Max movies.
Mad Max?
And that's something I'd love to dive into. How about you?
Indiana Jones.
All right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
There's a lot to talk about there. And Scorsese.
Yeah, for sure. Both of those two are something I'm looking forward to definitely doing in the future.
Right.
But other than that, that pretty much wraps it up here. Thank you guys for watching, and see ya.